It's time for Westside.Technology Declassified, where we reveal the inner workings of technology operations at District 66. This is episode number 9, recorded Thursday, December 8th, 2016. Matt Lee and Greg Betts are here with me again. Today we're going to be focusing, among other things, on tips about creating presentation slideshows and where you and your students can find images to use.
Morning,
Dr.
Paul.
Betts and Dr. Lee, how are you gentlemen doing today?
Good morning. How are you doing, Greg and Paul?
Hey, good morning. Great. Happy holidays. Good to see you guys.
Yeah, so I'm excited for the show today. I think we got some good stuff here, and I think it'll be things that people can actually start implementing tomorrow. There's no need to wait around.
Hey, now we're talking. That's always really useful when you can get something and use it right away. So it's going to be a great show today.
Yeah, do we have any announcements off the bat we need to get through?
My only announcements would be the professional learning in January, our professional learning morning. Our schedule is going to be coming out soon with that, and people will have a chance to preview the sessions and sign up then the first week back in January. So really excited about our opportunity to learn.
And if I'm correct, is that the one where it works kind of like a conference where they can view all the sessions and then pick a couple that interest them the most and they go to those?
Yeah, they'll have 2 opportunities to choose from sessions that meet their needs, and we have some outside people coming in from Region 3 out of Kearney, Children's Hospital. Our ESU 3 is bringing in some great learning opportunities for us, and not only that, we have our own in-house experts, which will be presenting some really great options for teachers.
Excellent. Okay, so our first segment today, or both of our major segments today, are actually being included in our podcast as a result of an email that a Westside staff member sent Matt and I, where he had asked some questions about kind of relating to presentations. So the 2 main segments, first of all, is about, what do you put on a slide, or what do you help your students do when they're making slide presentations like on Google Slides or PowerPoint or Keynote, and also where do they get images to put on their presentations. So our main topics today are actually as a result of a staff member writing into us, so we think that's kind of cool.
Very cool. So Paul and Greg, I think you guys had some tips and tricks about that first part about what goes on a slide and what should not go on a slide. You want to maybe get us started with a couple quick hitters?
Yes. First of all, when you make a presentation, I think it comes down, a lot of it, of bad presentations versus good presentations, is really less is more when you're talking about creating a slide. We've seen a lot of presentations from kids and actual staff members where there's just too much text is put on a single slide. Have you seen slides like that, Greg?
I've seen slides like that, and I've created slides like that too. So
Yes.
Very familiar with those, because it's very easy to do, to just put all of your text up there and try to use it as a handout and as your presentation, when really they are 2 separate things.
So I think if I can jump in here, I think that's a really key point that you just made about the difference between handouts and presentations. If you have a lot of really dense information, maybe a handout, something that they can take away with them, would be much better than trying to go through and push it up on a screen that's 30 feet away. Because I think we've all been there, right, where it's like 15 bullet points, and by the time you get down there, you're just checked out. Or it's a wall of text that's on there, full paragraphs of text that there's no way you can read it if you're sitting in the back of the room, and there's nothing that really draws your eye into it. So yeah, I think we can all agree that that might not be the most effective way of communicating. What are some alternatives that people could do?
Well, I think that putting on a slide a key graphic that kind of visually represents the idea that you want to express on that one slide. That's why we're going to have Matt show us some image resources later. But the mind just can't handle so much text all at once. Our brains just can't handle that as much. So one image that we can relate to with maybe 1 or 2 words in a font that's big enough that can really communicate what you're trying to get on that slide, I think is something to really focus on. Less is really more. A graphical focus is just easier for an audience to grab onto the concept that you're trying to communicate.
And I would say you don't need to eliminate text completely. Sometimes when people start, talking about this idea of using more visuals, they try to eliminate all text. And I think that can be just as hard for people to do than having too much text. I think it's finding those key ideas, those key points, and then having those on there. But the main point is the visual, and then the text serves to really kind of push forward the specifics of what you're going for. So yeah, like you said, maybe just a descriptive title, maybe 1 or 2 bullet points if you needed to have bullet points, maybe some statistics if you're sharing. But yeah, what's the saying? A picture is worth 1,000 words.
Yeah.
I think that's probably true with presentations as well.
It's okay to have a lot of slides. You don't have to put try to do an entire presentation on 5 slides. It's okay to break down your ideas into, longer slides and maybe spend less time on that slide when you're actually doing your presentation.
Matt and Paul, if you don't mind, I'll share my screen real quick. Give me 20 seconds here. So I'm going to share. So are you seeing me, or is it going into multiple levels?
We have a little bit of the matrix going on. Now we're good.
Okay. So real quick, like a recent presentation I did, like here was slide 1, and it was just talking about, it just introduced what we were going to talk about, and then we had a handout that went with this. That way people were able to interact with the text versus having all the information up on the screen. An example like number 2, and then this was our processing picture. So, it was just very simple and really easy for people to use, and people seem to really appreciate that.
Okay, that's great. So I guess we'd like to challenge teachers when you're doing presentations, and staff members, and also, challenge you to kind of communicate that concept to your students when you ask them to do projects that involve some type of a presentation slide.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we'll have Matt show us some image resources a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
So just for fun, we'll take a little break here as we have our holiday season approaching. Usually, this is the place where I give my lecture on, buy yourself a backup hard drive and make sure you back up, or put it on your holiday list. But I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to show you just a little bit off the ranch here.
So Paul, you're not going to talk to people about the importance of going out and buying a hard drive for backup and running backup and Time Machine on their computers? You're not going to do that today?
No, we're not going to do that today, because we do it all the time. So we're not going to emphasize how important it is to have a backup drive and back up your critical family photos and things like that in case something happens to your computer. We're not going to talk about that today. We're going to do something else. So.
Okay.
Paul, Matt, real quick, I just want to put a plug in that it's really important to back up your information onto an external hard drive just for safety reasons. So just want to put that plug in. So, all right, Paul,
okay.
Back to you.
Okay. So I want to show one of my favorite sites for just fun gifts and fun things for me. Is a site called ThinkGeek.com, and this is really no educational value at all. This is just pure fun, and as you're looking at gifts for people that might have interest in science fiction and just fun stuff, ThinkGeek just has tons and tons of stuff, but you have to buy early, because as we approach the season of giving, things are just selling out really fast. In fact, there were some things I was looking at this weekend that have already sold out. But like here, for $15, your Star Wars fans, here is a set of Death Star measuring cups that all nest together, and that can be used for your baking projects. So very cool, compact. That's a good stocking stuffer for somebody that's big on Star Trek. And here's one that I thought was really neat, that from between this weekend, just a couple days ago, has now sold out. But here is a charger that you can plug into your accessory on your car, your accessory port, and you can use it to charge your USB devices, but it looks like a Back to the Future Flux Capacitor. And I mean, how cool is that to be able to have your car look like you're ready to, travel in time should you ever, do we encourage it, but travel 88 miles per hour.
I was going to say, does something happen when you hit 88 miles per hour with it?
Yeah, I don't think so. We just don't recommend it. But it is really fun, and it also allows you to charge your devices. But unfortunately, in the last day or so, it has gone out of stock. I think it's because I tweeted about it that it was really cool. I think all of my people that follow me on Twitter probably just went out and bought it right away. So. But anyway.
If I remember right, I think we were going to get those as holiday gifts for staff, weren't we? Flux capacitors for everyone.
But unfortunately, they are sold out.
Oh, man. There goes our plan.
There are actually wall versions of it that you can plug into your outlet in your house, but I mean, it just doesn't make sense to have a flux capacitor in your house. So, sorry.
All right. Well, the next thing here we're going to talk about is, we mentioned at the beginning here a lot of stuff about using images on your presentations and in the products that you create. I do want to take a moment, and although we didn't lecture people about backing up and buying a hard drive for backing up, we do need to kind of get serious for a minute and talk about images in your presentations. There's kind of a misconception out there that because we're in education and because we're doing things with kids and we're not in a business and we're not selling anything, that you might not have to be as concerned about copyright as maybe some other people. And I hate to say it, but we do. Just because we're in education doesn't mean we can ignore copyright and go and steal images from the internet. So what we don't want people to do is just go out and search for an image and steal it and use it. And we don't want kids to do that either. So if we're asking you to use images and we don't want you to just take them, where do you go to get quality images that you can use in your presentations and in your materials that you produce for class? Fortunately, there are several resources out there that you can use. And so let's take a look here. The first is a website I came across called Pics for Learning. And this is great, especially for maybe if you're in the primary grades and you want a quick and easy way to send kids links for a resource that they're doing for a project. Maybe they're researching animals and they need to go in and they need to find pictures of, say, ducks. So I can come in here, I can locate pictures of ducks. And these are all pictures of ducks that have been uploaded by people who say, hey, this is free to use and free to share with others. And so kids can go in here and get access to those different pictures. So say I want a male rowan duck. What was that, Greg?
I said that is quacktastic.
It is pretty quacktastic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can see here the file name. I can download that image. I can save that to Google Drive directly if I wanted to. And then I also have a citation here so that we can teach kids how to give how to cite, how to give attribution to where they get those images. And that's all right in one page. And there's a search component where you can search for things, but I just thought that was a quick, easy, simple resource for coming up with a lot of images that, students specifically might want to use.
Well, that's really awesome, man.
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of nice. The other tool I want to show here is our friend Google. Google can get you in trouble if you just do a search. And so maybe we want to search for those ducks again.
Be very careful when you're typing that word in, right?
Yes, ducks we're searching for.
With a D.
And what a lot of people do is they just come here and click images and say, whoa, there's a lot of images about ducks. I like this one. Now, the problem with that is this was taken by somebody or uploaded by somebody, and it's their image, and they haven't given you permission to use it. So if you were to steal this, you would actually be stealing this image.
Kind of looks like the Geico duck.
That's the one over there with the dollar bill in its mouth or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Fortunately though, with Google, there's a really quick and easy way to filter these images by what's appropriate and what you can use. And so you find that over here where it says tools. So I clicked on tools, and now I came up with a row of filters here. One of those filters is usage rights. And when you click on usage rights, it gives you a list of types of rights that you have access to. So not filtered by license means this is every image that Google could find. But if we go to images that have been labeled for reuse with modification, that means you can reuse that picture, but you have to change something with it. If it's labeled for reuse, you're good to use that image in your presentation. Same thing with non-commercial, with modification and then non-commercial reuse. I would say that this one, labeled for reuse and labeled for non-commercial reuse, are probably your best bets. If you're going to change that image, you can do that for these as well. So I would filter by these and teach kids to filter by these. And when I do that, it's going to go through and re-update and research for it and now show me only pictures that are okay to use. And so when I click on it, now it tells me where I can view the page to view the image or view the image directly, and then I can download that. Here's where it came from, Wikipedia, so I can cite that, and then I have that picture to use. The other little piece about using pictures is when our staff member emailed us, they had mentioned that a lot of the pictures that the kids were using were really, really grainy. And when they blew them up to the size of a slide, it was all pixelated and blurry and you couldn't see it. Our friends at Google have helped solve that problem by giving us a size filter, and we can go through and search for only large images or search for images that are larger than. And I would say for kids presenting, anything with this 1024 by 768 or bigger should be okay as long as you're not really zooming in on the picture. So if I filter that by that size, I can see these images here that now meet both the qualifications of labeled for non-commercial reuse and that are larger than 1024 by 768. So a couple quick tools. You could also search by color or by type or by when they've been posted. And so again, that's under the images, and I find that by hitting the tools button and have it come up.
Excellent. Those are great resources, and we'd encourage teachers to not only use it themselves in presentations, but also make sure that they kind of pass those along to their students and their colleagues. So,
absolutely, yep.
Greg, do you have a book that you'd like to share with us today?
Sure. So going along, I have two books actually I'm going to share real quick. The first one, Paul and you and I were just talking this morning about using audible.com, which is through Amazon, but it's a resource that allows you to listen to books audibly. And you saw this book on my desk. You're like, wow, I just listened to that one. I said, me too. I liked it so much that I actually bought the hard book. So the book I'm sharing today is Lead with a Story. And so the technology connection is that I listened to it on audible.com. And Paul, I thought you'd like the author's first name there.
Yes.
Yeah, Paul, that's a good one. So Lead with a Story, that really fits today with what we're talking about on making presentations and how do you tell your story with a presentation. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend this book, Lead with a Story by Paul Smith. And then I think it was last podcast or two podcasts ago, I referenced a lynda.com having hard conversations. And so to continue that on just how to make yourself have a better skill set when talking with individuals. This book, I was just at a conference, and Jennifer Abrams, Hard Conversations Unpacked. This is her second book, which her first one was Having Hard Conversations. It's a great tie-in, just pretty easy read and straightforward, and just gives you some good mapping skills and ideas to think about when you're, you have to, if you're going to have a hard conversation, you should plan what that's going to be going in instead of just showing up and expecting to have a hard conversation and have it go well.
Cool. Well, thanks for sharing those things with us, Greg. And I think one thing that's kind of cool is that one of our key things in our district we're working on right now is personalization. And just in your little segment, you showed us, textbook or a printed book. We talked about Audible.com, which is not a free. It's something that you and I pay for every month to get that, and we just find it really beneficial when we drive and things like that to be able to, get access to books like that. But then you talked about lynda.com too, and hard conversations. You talked about that last time, but if we go to storytelling on lynda.com, which everybody in the district does have access to, there are of course many different videos and courses on storytelling too. So if you like to sit down and watch something, somebody explain something, or if you'd like to sit down and read a book, or if you want to listen to it, there's always options for you to kind of, depending on what you enjoy the best or what you have time for. So.
And if I can hop in real quick, you had mentioned, what was the title of that book, Greg? Was it Lead with a Story?
Yeah, it was Lead with a Story by Paul Smith.
Okay, I wanted to share kind of something related to that. One of the things I really enjoy is this book called Resonate by Nancy Duarte. And it's available in print, it's available online in an iBook that you can download. However, the cool thing is if you go to this website, resonate.duarte.com, you can have a free web-based version of the book. And the entire book is about the importance of story, and it gives you a step-by-step thing about how to craft your story. And it was built for like public presentations if you were doing like a TED type talk, but I think it really translates well into education, whether you're giving a board presentation or you're giving a large group lecture to US history or to chemistry. I think it really works well about showing the power of story and helping you construct a story. So I just thought I'd share that. I'll put a link in the show notes to where to access that free book online.
Cool. Matt, so you're saying that this book really resonates with you?
It does really resonate with me.
Cool.
We need to get some kind of either a sad trombone or a ta-da-ch thing going.
Sad trombone? That's not sad trombone. That'd be more like cymbal.
Hey, as we finish up today, Greg, you said that you had a shout out to give to somebody.
Oh yeah. And
I have one too when you're done. So
let me bring it up here. But we have a new follower that gave us some nice love online. I believe it's Brent Saleh from Gretna. So thanks for following us and liking our podcast, and look forward to following you on Twitter also.
And I would like to give a shout out to Jeff. Won't say his last name, but he's the one that sent Matt and I the email originally that kind of prompted us into the topics that we focused on today. So hopefully this is a little bit of an answer to the question that he had for us as well. And as we close out, many times as we finish our work days as Westside staff members, we pick up our bags or with our laptops in them, and on the way home we have to either stop and get gas or pick up kids from daycare, or we decide, we've got to go buy that last gift or groceries from the store. We'd really like to encourage you just to be careful about what you do with your laptop. Matt, what would be the wrong way to handle having your laptop in your car as you're stopping to do an errand?
So I would say the wrong way, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the wrong way would be to leave that laptop sitting out on the front seat of the car when it's really cold out, and then attach a note to it that say, my car doors are unlocked and my laptop is sitting here. Am I correct that that's probably wrong to have it sitting out in the open on the front seat with your doors unlocked?
That would be wrong. That would be the wrong way.
I would even add to that, sitting out on the front seat with the doors locked and no note would still probably be the wrong way.
Yes.
So what would be the correct way that we should do, Paul?
If we want to avoid it as much as we can, but if it's unavoidable, and Greg, you're making me laugh as you're doing your little thinking face there. But put it out of sight. If you don't have a trunk that actually locks, many of us don't have trunks. Make sure it's down on the floor, covered up with something, so that it doesn't look like it's something that's valuable. If you do have a trunk, put it in the trunk, lock it up. Make sure you lock your car up. And again, just don't leave it there for a long period of time. So if you try to make other plans, if you're going to do an extended shopping trip or an extended stop somewhere, just take your laptop in with you. I know it's kind of inconvenient, but keep it with you and keep it safe. And
correct me if I'm wrong, but the cold and laptop screens don't do well together, right?
That is correct, and many other components. LCD, your screen on your computer, your laptop, is a liquid crystal display. And what happens to liquids when they get really cold for a long period of time? They freeze. And
and they expand.
Yes. So we do have pictures of LCDs that kids have frozen over time, and teachers have frozen over time. They are very pretty, but they are very expensive to fix. So please, we want to avoid that, even though they are very beautiful. All the fracturing that goes on the LCD, just not good and very expensive to repair. So.
And I have walked out with a teacher before who left their laptop on their front seat, and their class has been broken in and their laptop is gone. So it's not only inconvenient that you lost your laptop, and hopefully you backed up, maybe you didn't, and then you now have the expense of trying to fix your car window too. So just all around, just not.
Yeah. And who knows? If you have accounts up on your laptop where you have credit card numbers, if you have tax returns with your Social Security number and other information, it can just be a really awful day. So we just really would like to encourage people to be careful.
A terribly no good awful day.
Yes. Anything else, guys, before we sign off for today?
I thought it'd be good to show people maybe where they could go and see back episodes of this podcast if they're just joining us here now. If you take a look at Area 66, which is area66.westside66.org, this is our technology integration website. There is a podcast link on the top left. And when you click that link, you'll be able to see all current and past episodes of this podcast. So if you want to go check out what we had talked about last month or the month before, you are able to do that here. So just a quick tip, if you wanted to get caught up on what you might have missed, it's right there on Area 66.
And hey, Matt, I didn't see it on here, but the Big Ten had a great 2-minute highlight clip of the Husker Hawkeye game from the Friday after Thanksgiving.
And thank you for joining us. We are out of time. This has been a wonderful episode of Westside.Technology Declassified. Until next time, thank you very much.